Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I am here now to present the Midseason Awards. And this is not going to be talking about what's going to be happening in Week 8. That's going to be the next episode where it's going to be scripted, all that. This is unscripted, my personal opinion. And for your 2007 NCAA champion at the midway point of the season, it's the Florida Gators. Even though they're 5-1 and you have Arkansas right behind them, and in reality, this would be the SEC championship game. But halfway point of the year, it's Florida on top, so they'd be the national champions. Now here, your Heisman winner would be Dylan, who's 222 for 269, 4,688 yards, 107 carries for 1,421 yards, 122 total touchdowns. But they're also forgetting about his 3 catches for a nice 69 yards as well. So Dylan would win the Heisman because of his versatility. And we'll just go with whoever's on top of the conference. If it's tied, well, McNary Central would be the SEC champions because they're 4-0 in conference play. It'd be North Texas because I believe they beat Louisiana Lafayette. Yeah, I believe Louisiana Lafayette's losses to North Texas. I would go into more detail. Look into, let's screw it. We'll look into that more. Through the first 7 weeks has North Texas and let's see, North Texas and we need Louisiana Lafayette. Let's see. Yeah, North Texas wins Sun Belt because they have the tiebreaker over Louisiana Lafayette. The news going around in an episode would actually kind of help us out here. Yeah, a second to load. There we go. Hawaii wins the WAC because they're 4-0. Mickey wins the ACC because they're 4-0. And Big Ten, Wisconsin's got the edge over Penn State. Though Northwestern beat Wisconsin, I think Minnesota. Yeah, so Minnesota wins the Big Ten because Minnesota beat Northwestern, who beat Wisconsin, who beat Penn State. Yes, that's a whole mess of a thing to keep up with. But 4-way tie, Minnesota wins because their loss was to, I want to say, Michigan? No. Yeah, who did Minnesota lose to in conference play? Now you got me curious. So, yeah, told you this is unscripted right from the get-go. So, Big Ten, let's see. We'll go all the way back here. Week 1, they face up against Bowling Green. Week 2, Miami University. For Atlantic, Week 3. Week 4. They lost to Purdue out of all teams. So, yeah, Minnesota is your Big Ten champion because even though they lost to Purdue, that's a whole different set of circumstances in general. Kansas State, Nebraska, and Oklahoma, 3-way tie. It'd go to Kansas State because they're undefeated. Louisville and West Virginia, I'd give it to Louisville because they only have 1 loss. Conference USA, Tampa Bay's running away with it. And Independence, there's no conference champion there. In the MAC, it's Western Michigan. In the Mountain West, it's a tie between TCU and UNLV. Just had to see who they were going to face this upcoming week, and it'd go to TCU because they're undefeated, and Pac-10 goes to USC because they're the only team undefeated. And now, it took me a while to get the stats to get up because of the whole kicking stats thing. I don't know why it takes so long on that end. But, winner of the best quarterback award in the entire NCAA would be Dylan because of how insane his stat line is. Winner for the best running back would go to Pat Shelton, in my opinion, of Wisconsin, because that's an insane stat line for a running back. 1,371 yards on 213 carries for 16 touchdowns, averaging nearly 200 yards a game. So, yeah, he's been a big key to Wisconsin's offense this year. So, yeah. Best wide receivers easily going to be Peyton. And I think there's a best tight end award. I didn't fully look into this when I was thinking of doing this episode, but I think there's a best tight end award. Hold on, Tim Jones is suspended, but yeah, I think there's a best tight end award. And right now, it might go to Maurice Battle, but if we're gonna sort it by touchdowns, it's probably gonna be Maurice Robinson because he's got 9 touchdowns compared to 3 for the other guy, but he has more yards. I mean, that's determining on who it is. Seth Harris would win the best lineman award. Well, best center probably because he's got 96 pancake blocks. And maybe Billy Richard because he hasn't allowed a sack would win the best lineman overall. Best defensive lineman goes to Dwayne Thomas with a super insane stat line of 135 tackles, 119 of them for a loss, 80 sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 3 safeties, and a defensive touchdown. Best linebacker, and this just based more on his more versatility, would go to Jimmy Folks in his stat line of 21 tackles, 13 of them for a loss, 3 sacks, 6 interceptions, a pass deflection, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 safeties, and 3 defensive touchdowns. And the best defensive back would probably end up being Tim White because he's got 9 interceptions along with 16 tackles, including one of them for a loss. Yeah, that is 16. He's got pass deflection, a fumble recovery, and 5 defensive touchdowns. Best kicker, I'd probably put it to be Patrick Cox because he's had a field goal blocked, but other than that, it's just the fact that he's made every field goal he's made has also been of 50 yards. And he's also the one that's attempted the most. Meanwhile, guys like Ryan Polite, Chris Morris, Gerald Blanchard, and David Blake have all attempted 4 field goals. And out of these 16 attempts, only one of them was made. And I think that's a 51-yard or 2. Yeah, 51, just barely. Meanwhile, we got a 63-yard field goal. Now, if we're going by average, it's definitely going to be Grant. Same with punt distance. But if we're going for most consistent, probably Alex Osborne because he's been out there a lot. He was out there a lot during the Oklahoma State game at the beginning of the year, and he was out there a lot in the most recent game against McNairy Central. Best kick returner, Well, probably best returner in general would probably be Lincoln, because he may have only 7 kick returns, but they're for 397 yards. But along with 92, 5 touchdowns there, along with 31 punt returns for 1,464 yards, along with 104, which is definitely a lot longer than any other punt return on this list, and 22 touchdowns. So yeah, those are the midseason awards, and we will tune in for the next episode where I discuss week 8. And also, just a quick note for the recruiting. As McNair Central, we got Derek Adams, Mark Nelson, and Brian Mooney. So we got 3 guys, working on some more. But until then, I will see you all next time.